Our sponsors for this episode are Hall's Tree Service. Locally owned and operated, Hall's Tree Service has been exceeding and surpassing customer demands in Newton and the surrounding area for over 40 years. Larry and his crew are guaranteed to work hard for you. There's no tree too tall, no job too small. Call Hall's at 316-772-1919. Absolute Drain. Look, no one, and I mean no one, likes it when their sink, bathtub, washing machine, or especially their toilets start backing up. It's even worse when they won't drain or flush at all. No matter who you are, it happens to us all. If this is happening to you, then you need to give Garth with Absolute Drain a call. Absolute Drain is located at 420 West Broadway in Newton and has been faithfully serving Newton and surrounding areas for longer than I can even remember. I personally use Absolute Drain, and they have kept my pipes cleaned out and flowing day one. It might just be time for you to give them a call too at 316-283-7264. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this HCTalk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and my two brothers from Another Mothers are Andy Ortiz, local businessman and entrepreneur, and Chad Fry, as we affectionately know as the Kansan guy. How was your guys' Easter weekend and your week?
Easter weekend was great.
Do some fam time?
Yep, we did a picnic in the park.
Very cool.
And just so people understand, we did a picnic in the park, but that doesn't mean we went out there with a picnic basket full of peanut butter sandwiches. You know, I provided the lamb and potatoes. My mom did ham and deviled eggs and more potatoes, and yeah.
So
I mean, we picnicked in the park and we ate like kings.
A picnic feast.
Yeah, it was good.
Good. Did you remember the reason for the season, Chad?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Absolute course.
Very cool.
It's all about those deviled eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are the bomb diggities.
With the Helms mayonnaise, hopefully the right way.
A little bit of paprika on top, a little red splash of yellow and white. Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah. Andy, fam time? How'd it go? You did the Easter thing. I know.
It's really good. It was really good. I mean, turned off a little bit other than getting mowers ready for the season and doing some logistics and, you know, in between just trying to relax a little bit, getting my brain off of some things that I've been really focused on. But Sunday was really, really good. I slept in, which is rare in my world. And I got to spend time with my sister and my brother-in-law and my nephew and niece. And it was just, man, it was great.
Yeah.
I cooked out, hung out, just at home, you know. It was good.
It's a beautiful Easter day.
It was really good.
Sometimes, some years is bitterly cold and not enjoyable. Others is raining and sometimes sleeting and makes for egg hunts. Easter egg hunt a little bit difficult for the kiddos. And then this year we just had a really beautiful day all the way around. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So I was thinking about what to talk this week about. And we have, on many instances over the last few weeks, talked about a lot of stuff that's going on nationally. Of course, what's in the news, what a lot of people are talking about has to do with what's going on in Iran and what's going on globally and what's going on economically, et cetera, which we won't be able to get away from that entirely, I'm sure, from even talking about it this week as well, even though I really thought long and hard about whether we just take a break. But there's so many things evolving so quickly, it's almost impossible to take a break from it. So I just want to, you know, kind of what I was thinking about was something different. So I almost want to title this in advance and call this podcast Faith Over Fear, right? Faith over fear, especially in light of, the Easter and the crucifixion and the resurrection and all those things, what mean to so many different people. And then on top of that, something that seems to be just coming up on my radar all the time is this goes back to fear. This goes back to fear. This goes back to fear. I mean, so many things we talk about on the podcast, if you follow the trail, right, it always goes back to fear. Whether it's AI, whether it's algorithms, what it's trying to do and what they put forth in the 24-hour news cycle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It all comes back to fear. And I would like to point out, in just a little brief research that I did, not explicitly, but for those that want to do a little bit of research will understand why I'm saying this. Do not be afraid or fear not is referenced 365 times, more than any other theme in the Bible, right? Do not be afraid, fear not. And I thought, I want to talk about Easter for a second, right? We didn't talk about it last Wednesday, of course, so then there's, the crucifixion takes place on Friday, and then Sundays is the resurrection of Christ. When you guys want to get into a brief theological discussion real quick?
We can try, but...
Andy, just entertain me, okay?
Let's do it. I'll listen well.
Okay, well, I mean, and just from what a very, very general 10,000-foot view, okay? When we talk about Christ coming and teaching and healing and doing all of the things that he did during his mission, why do you think people hated him so much? Those that did hate him up to the point and they wanted to kill him.
He was a challenge to their power structure.
So does that come back to fear?
Yes, of course.
Agreed, Andy? Right? So when we're talking about fear...
Labeled him witchcraft, labeled him sorcerer, labeled him all the things, right?
Right.
That put him in a category where whatever religion or belief that they had to muster to get people to justify the actions that they took against him, right?
And that was all in their head too, right? I mean, wasn't
They manifested it.
They manifested it, but at the same time, of all the things that were taking place, right? And I think to myself, you go out, let's just take Christ for example, and you do nothing but good. You're doing nothing but good. Nothing but good. All the miracles, all the teachings. I mean, I don't think Christ ever once said, bomb the shit out of them. That wasn't what Christ taught, right? Christ taught love.
Well, you'll have a lot of people jump on this thread right now that will tell you how that's justified. Just like we have our people in Washington that are supposed to be looking out for that part. There's a whole cabinet of people that are supposed to stand for beliefs that I have that are justifying the war.
Right.
And they're pulling out scripture and doing all the things they need to do to tell us this is why we need to do it, even though it's chopped up and kind of forced in here and moved over there. And yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch that happen.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to anytime you're taking life and you're justifying it, unless you're protecting your family or the people you love.
In that moment, in that instance, yeah.
It's just pretty wild to me. And then for our president to talk about demolishing a whole community, a whole set of people threatening nuclear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a tough guy. Okay. But I'm sorry, man, I didn't sign up for that.
Right.
And it's beyond reasonable to me. And I'm super disappointed again. I'm just disappointed. But I think there's no limits to when we're looking at Christianity, which is something that I work on dearly in my heart because I'm still working. When you look at Democrat and Republican, and only one or the other can be a Christian because you have to see things this way or that way, I think that's part of the psyop.
Yeah. That's part of the big problem we have.
Well, politicizing faith becomes an issue.
And we are doing it at scale right now.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are doing it at scale.
While we point the finger at other countries who are very influenced by their own theological belief or mass of the population. Agreed? Right? That's wrong.
Well,
That's wrong.
we've had people in this country. We've had people working in this country for decades to set up a theocracy, which is pretty rich when you consider that the overall Christian church, there's a lot of stuff that the overall Christian church just can't agree on.
Well, do you know with the?
Yet we want to have a theocracy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way.
Well, and interestingly enough,
You can't go from over the course of 800 years. Over the course of 800 years, you can't go from executing people because they believed in adult baptism.
Which happened.
yeah,
Yes.
burning people at the
That's
stake.
my people right there, folks. All right? I'm a direct descendant of people in the martyr's mirror. I claim that. I own that. And to the point that for much of my adult life, I've been flat out effing scared of Catholics and Lutherans because they tried to exterminate me because my ancestors had the audacity to perform adult baptism, which is all over the New Testament. And so those same groups are now have been working really, really hard to set up a theocracy in this country. I don't trust it. I'm not down for that. Let me tell you, a theocracy sure the hell didn't work for my people in the 1500s.
And I got a question, Chad. Okay, I got a question just to clarify what I hear you saying.
And when you're sitting there, because I know it's coming, you can call me an idiot. You can call me whatever you want. But my memory goes back to the 1500s. The Muslim and Islamic memory goes back to the Crusades. We are who you're dealing with when you're trying to set up your theocracy.
Well, you know, we go back to our
There you go.
country, okay, and the rise of denominationalism is almost parallel to our independence as a country, right? You know, we agreed in Big G, right? Big G, God, but yet there was tolerance for, or supposed to be tolerance for, different faiths, right? Of the Big G umbrella. Okay, now like what Chad's talking about and the atrocities that took place there. I mean, if we go back through Christianity, and I hate to say it this way, but I'll say it this way. You know, there's been a lot of atrocities that have took place over time with all faiths. I don't think there's one that you can't look at that's like, wow. Same thing as with countries, right? We want to point fingers at different countries for different atrocities. Like, you know, the U.S. is poo-poo don't stink. And the reality is we almost as a nation exterminated an entire race of people, an entire way of life. If you go back to the natives, I do not view history through today's lens. I'm very careful about doing that. A lot of people want to say, well, look at how we are today and point the finger at the past and say that was just a horrible. And yeah, it is. The farther we get away from that, the more extreme that is. But to say that somehow or another, any country is any better or worse than any other country because, you know, that is what took place. That's what took place. There's not a group. There's not, I'll say this again, there's not a demographic, there's not a race, there is not a nation, there is not a peoples on planet Earth that has not been enslaved by another group of people at some point in history, right? And as we continue to move farther and farther away from that, I think that really gets more difficult. But just going back to what we were talking about as far as faiths are concerned, you know, I guess we'll dash a little bit of stuff in here because I said I kind of want to stay away from this. But I was bewildered and saw what I saw on Easter morning. I saw a tweet by President Trump on Easter morning A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back. But it probably... I got something away. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary will happen. Who will find I'm totally off, right? I totally made a mistake here and just quoted one thing for the other. My apologies.
He did tweet out that an entire civilization will die tonight.
Yeah, that was the next one over.
Yeah, that was the next one. I'm looking for the effing die and Allah
on Easter,
and on Easter. I'm like, what is it? What are we doing here?
And
so that's my bad, everybody.
Well, he's just trolling.
He is, but here's my struggle.
Well, and he's also, you guys have to understand, insert sarcasm, because they don't get that part.
Well, and maybe that's the way to look at it too.
Understand that there's 5D chess going on, guys.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
So you have to understand.
It's 70 now. It's up to 70.
Is it?
It's 70.
But just wait till he gets to 15D. I mean, it's
Chad's boiling over here.
What do you do?
No.
What do you do?
Because of where this conversation started. That tweet absolutely violates every holy war and just war theory ever published by the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but I don't think he's got many Catholics in his cabinet right now. I think we're we're into the ones that really love to twist
and
the Bible, however it may be. If you just have enough faith.
The Catholic Church is one of the most violent churches in history.
We lost 70% of our audience right there.
And that's fine.
But that goes back to what I was saying.
Because you've heard me say it before. You shouldn't agree with everything I say. And that's fine.
And
but I'm just saying.
I did read the history there. When I was curious about you crazy guys, I got to read that stuff, and I was just, wow.
Well, look at Mormonism,
wild.
the expansive
It is
Mormonism.
wild.
I mean, everything is born in blood. What is not?
Yeah, the hardest thing for Anabaptists to reconcile, American Anabaptists, U.S. Anabaptists, one of the hardest things that we have to reconcile is that we hold our pacifism so incredibly dear. And we, every day, wake up, look in the mirror, brush our teeth, and some of us have to rectify the fact that we are living in a nation born of war, and we are benefiting. We are benefiting from that shedding of blood. That's for some of us, that is a real struggle, nonstop. And for some of us, it's why presidents, okay, and I use that word very intentionally, presidents that go out and take action, and we have a whole list. I can give you a whole list of undeclared wars that have been fought by this country.
Military actions, Chad.
They are undeclared wars because every one of them gets a different label. Have you noticed that? Every one of them gets a different label.
We're just getting more sophisticated in how we're...
propaganda.
But those are undeclared wars.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay? And so we've got these presidents that have gone out and done this. It grieves me. It grieves us. And we have to sit there and go, we have to accept the fact we're benefiting from this. I do not know what the benefit is going to be from Iran. I'm going to be really honest. I don't get it. I don't see what the benefit was from Vietnam. I don't see what the benefit was from Korea.
Well, somebody's benefiting, Chad, just not you.
I do know what the benefit is to me, individually, personally, and to my church, individually, personally, from the Revolutionary War. Because for the first time, we had a place where we could be pacifists?
Up to a point. I mean, yes, up to a point. I still go back to the fact that when it comes to allowable things from our government, that's only at our government's convenience. So right now you're able to do that, but given a different situation.
Well, and you know, when you look at my ancestry and you look at the church that I'm in, you know, there's been people who have faced some heavy consequences for the pacifism and for not wanting to fight in a war.
Who do you guys think is who? I legitimate question here. Okay, and I trying to stay away from this, but it's just probably not going to happen, as we can see. It's just unfolding. It is what it is. But who? Both Iran and America have declared victory. Who do you think is on the winning end of what's transpiring? I'll go first. The first to try to put forth ceasefire negotiations, I would look at as the one that's on the losing end, right? If you're winning, why would you go out and try to seek a ceasefire? If what everything you're saying is happening, where we are on the winning end of this, then what would be the point in going out and saying, "Hey, I know I'm kicking the crap out of you right now, and you didn't do it to me. I'm just doing it to you. But here, you do this, and I'll stop kicking the crap out of you." Well, we're getting like all kinds of mixed messages from here, but I think the hurting, whether people want to admit it or not, I think if you really look at it, I think, in my personal opinion right now, Iran has us over a barrel. They have us over a barrel. Legitimately. A barrel of oil.
Yeah. Barrel of oil. Yeah. Well, I mean,
our economy, everything to our agriculture,
shipping is starting to slow down. I've got parts that I have an issue. We've had an issue with the sign. This is the little everyday entrepreneur. Fixed it. 2 weeks later, it's having this issue. Get some stuff, fix it. It's fine for a month and a half, and then it has an issue. And it only has an issue at the nighttime. It's a long story, so it works, but it doesn't, and the client's frustrated. And it was a mess from the beginning because of weather and because of budgets and because of change orders and because contractors not calling us and getting information on the base and me having to, because of a local person, instead of me just going, I'm done, I'm not doing this. I'm actually losing money at this point. But I have to do what's right by the client, right? Well, guess what? I went out there 2 weeks ago while guys were doing other things and fixed it. And then 2 days ago, I get another email. It's been a year now. We're still having issues with the sign from the CEO, somebody that I know. What are we going to do? And I'm going, I message, hey, this is the last two little pieces I have to change out. Can you get that to me? Well, these pieces come from overseas because almost everything does.
Especially electronics.
And this is tens of thousands of us across America are going through what I'm telling you right now on the production side. I could be 30 days out when my client's pissed today. They don't give a damn about what's happening in the war or the shipping lanes being closed down or planes being overpacked or the fact that they know they can go from flying a part over here in another bundle that we used to be able to do and get in with other people to lower our shipping cost. Well, that $500 for my little space now turns into $1,500 because they know we have to do it.
Yeah.
And TSA issue, all the stuff. Guys like me get hosed. Because am I not going to not get that here to take care of my client at the end of the day?
You have to.
And we have so many people complaining about so many things. It's like when you're actually in the game and your treasure and your time is getting just squandered and you want to be supportive, right? You want to be. But sometimes people just make it hard. Make it easy to do business with you. And a lot of people don't know what that means.
Right.
Is it easy to work with you? Right? Ask that question. Am I easy to work with? Do people act weird around me? And is it always everybody else, or is it me? And what part of me causes that?
Right.
And that's the fight of a real entrepreneur, is always self-reflecting on that piece, right? And everybody's at different stages and levels of that. Hopefully, most people won't look at that monster because it hurts. 80% of people never see it. The 20% that choose to continue to look in the mirror every day and reconcile with that are looking at our world events right now, trying to be as understanding as possible. I mean, I'm telling you, guys like me are going, this is ridiculous.
I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. And I'll say, it's interesting how what you just said carries into part of what I was wanting to talk about as well. With the people that comment on the program, people that listen to the program and hear what we have to say. And honestly, you have to understand that there's 3 guys sitting at a table. We don't all agree on the same things. We all come from different lives. We all come from different backgrounds, and some of those things parallel. And, there's some parallel between all of us, but at the same time, we're not all the same. We don't think the same way. Okay. And we have these discussions openly and honestly on the podcast with respect for one another, which I think is what keeps communication open between us and mutual respect.
Well, we all love Jesus. That helps.
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
That too. Yeah, of course.
You can always meet there when it gets ugly.
The parallel. Well, it depends on what Jesus.
Damn it, guys.
What Jesus, right? What Jesus are we talking about here?
Yeah.
The ones that,
the Democrat or the Republican one.
or the ones that are in Trump's cabinet right now. Okay. So anyway, with that being said,
Interesting how both parties can claim him, isn't it?
yeah.
And only they're right.
Just saying.
With their version of him.
That's right.
Yeah, just
That's
saying.
Right. That's right.
Just saying.
Because
We are
sit
weird
here-
creatures, aren't we?
Well,
Just
but this goes back to what I was going to say, right? How many people actually self-reflect? See, I think that the main issue for many people who are in my shoes, which are, and I'll say it again, I voted for Donald Trump based upon no more war, based upon pro-America first policies, based upon, and then that became my interpretation of what that means. Similar to what we criticize other people for when it comes to, well, what's your definition of Republican? Or like Chad and I said, what's the definition of a patriot, right? And all these are fluid definitions that change over time, and what's great and what's not great, and what's winning and what's not winning, and all these things in between, right? Because of how we are. How many people right now are struggling because of fear that they cannot say, I was wrong. I voted for this. I mean, it seems like there are so many people that will just double down, and no matter what, manna comes from Trump's mouth in so many ways for so many people. It's the manna, whatever he says. And then we get into all this propaganda and algorithms and social media, and it all comes to me back to fear. If you are not able to say, I made a mistake, if you're not able to self-reflect and say, I may not be right, or challenge your own thinking, or like in Andy's situation that he was describing, applicable to just your day-to-day non-political anything, right?
Which is most of us.
It's amazing to me. The reason why I wanted to coin this faith over fear is I'm a watcher, right? I definitely want to know why people do what they do, why they think the way they think, why, just down to, the psychology of it, even down to the sociology of it. I really am interested by people, right? And that's what makes people think, what makes people tick, why are they where they're at today, what makes them who they are, et cetera, right? And realizing that there's so many thousands and millions of variables and moments and seconds at time that shape us who we are, right? We are the sum total of our life's experiences. So with that being said, something that I've noticed has really come full swing for me is that so many people are just angry right now. They are angry. Like, you can tell it in the way they drive. You can tell it in the way that they are at the grocery store. You can tell it. And once again, I go back to, they're just afraid. But yet they're not willing to admit or accept the fact that maybe the reason that they're so angry is because they're afraid. They don't know how to deal with that fear. And therefore then it goes to self-preservation mode. And you get angry so that way you can potentially deal with the situation, you know? I mean, just getting deep here, guys. I know we're getting deep, and this is very organic conversation for those that are wondering where we're going with this, because I don't even know if I necessarily know where we're going with this today.
Well, the fear, right? I mean,
let me throw something at you here. We are all angry, and we all need to start checking ourselves real hard. You'd be amazed what happens when you do. One of the things that draws the most anger out of me are these stupid scam calls and robocalls.
I love it. Yeah.
And for weeks now, my responses have been just flat out angry. And I've said things I am not proud of.
And Chad don't even realize that if you answer the phone, that's when they start calling more.
But, you know, I'm in a spot where I kind of have to answer the phone.
Yeah, good call. They can leave a message.
Right?
Chad. They can leave a message.
So here I am. It's Easter Sunday, and I'm sitting in church, and my phone starts to ring, and it says it's from Los Angeles, California. I pick it up. This is how I answered. Is my Uncle Dan okay? And I got just pregnant, silent pause. Because the only reason somebody from California would call me in the middle of Easter service is that my Uncle Dan's not okay. Is my Uncle Dan okay? And I got, sorry to have bothered you, sir. Oh. Do you even know who I am? Well, my thing here says your name is Chad. Okay. Are you calling to market something to me? Well, I was supposed to call and ask you about your tax file. Oh, so you're a scammer.
Yeah, because you're going to help me out.
You're a scammer. It's like, no, yeah, yes, you are. You guys have been calling me for weeks. Can you please now take me off your list?
But they're not going to take you off the list.
And
Yeah. Maybe it used to,
and he
but
goes,
not anymore.
He goes, the best I can do is promise that I won't call you again. Okay.
Yeah, and there was actually 10 phone calls that went out at once, and you were the one that answered the phone.
That's right. That's right. But you know what he did not get, what he did not expect was somebody going, is my family okay? What he expected was, you mean you called me in the middle of Easter service? So help me God, I'm going to reach through this phone. I'm going to rip your damn throat out.
Right.
You know, talking about fear, and there's people that are on pages that I associate with through some of the stuff I do. And so I clicked on one yesterday because there's an event that I'm helping with that's going on, and I'm like looking on some back end stuff. So I clicked on a channel that my Facebook account is connected with. And I got to see the stream from the people that are on that thread and the algorithms that they're clicking. It allows me to see what they're clicking on or what's being pushed off to them. And when I don't like stuff that I'm seeing, I change my algorithms because I'm in control of that. And so, and I do it often. So here's some of the titles from some of what I was seeing on that other algorithm. Breaking news, young man dies in the hands of immigration, all because they were chasing him when the young man was trying to cross an American immigration. And then there's a picture.
Right.
Okay. I looked it up. No word of it anywhere other than that. Next one. The arrest continues. ICE agents detain this person. If anyone knows her, please inform her relatives. With this picture. Who knows what's going on there, what happened. Who knows if that's even for that reason. Right. That was the second one.
Right.
The third one, a perfect Holy Friday to arrest immigrants. This is the picture. The next one. 1, 2, 3, pow, pow, pow. When you look up and you click on the actual pages that are sharing that stuff and all the bot work behind it and how you can identify some things that most people that don't understand how it works can't do that. They just think it's news. What do you think they're playing off of? To your point, Lance, it's fear.
Fear.
And that's one little lane that's created. And there's somebody on these pages that I show up to a meeting with that are talking about, can we have whistles at this event just in case ICE shows up, and can we do this and can we do that? And you're going, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Because that's what you see. That's
and in the forefront of their mind,
yeah.
How many times has ICE been to our schools, Chad? Would you get the phone call? You would probably be the first one or one of the first in this community to know this. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. I would be.
You would be probably
in one way or another.
You would be notified within minutes.
Yes, in one way or another.
Okay, so that has not happened. I got a real source here. This isn't Andy's opinion stuff. I was on the school board. I would have heard this. I would have probably been notified shortly after you, right, with an email.
Or about the same time.
Or maybe an hour later, actually, to be honest, because they would gather information before they sent the email to us. Because then you would have been on the ground and other people, and y'all would have done your thing, and within an hour, I would have got an email. But you would have totally heard it first. Or one of two that I know of that would have heard it. And then you've got your other agency communications people that would have got that information right after the initial media. Boom, hey, here's what's up. Anyways, how many times have they been through our town knocking on doors and pulling people out of homes?
They haven't.
I know the sheriff. I know the chief. But this is what we're doing here.
Yeah. You know what we've had more of than that? God's honest truth, folks. We've had more instances of the sheriff picking somebody up driving down the interstate.
Yeah.
And immigration services saying, we're not going to come get them. We have more of that than we've ever had.
Right.
Anything else.
But that comes back to what you're talking about, Andy.
So it's the fear, though, right? It's the fear, and it's the algorithm, and it's people not understanding that they're in their mind, this is happening in our neighborhoods every day. Just like when COVID, there was this lady talking about they're going to start parking freezer trucks outside the mortuary because all these dead bodies. I was like, whoa. But they believe that, right? And these are reasonable people. They're not bad people. They're just in their own muck. And the algorithm is going to continue to play off of the fear and the emotion and the anxiety. And it's going to keep you. And then next thing you know, they're driving. And to your point, Lance, why are they mad?
Yeah.
They're behind a month and a half or 2 months on their mortgage. They're a month behind on their car, freaking out, maybe being 2 months behind because they're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Their cell phone bills a week and a half from being shut down. Their credit card bills are maxed out and they're getting fees and starting to freak out. They're freaking looking for a part-time job. They can't find anything that works in their schedule. Their kids are getting off and needing money to go to a band thing when you have freaking $3 in your checking account trying to make it 3 more days.
Yeah.
Why are they pissed off?
Their kids are coming home from their golf meet they're finding out that they should have sent $20 with them to eat. That's when they're finding that out, and they didn't have the $20 to send in the first place.
I get it. And times.
That's what it is.
So
that's what's going
pissed. On. Don't kid yourself, my people. It's most of us. In some way, shape, or form,
they got us.
Are fighting our frickin' rears off just to get through the next day and take care of the people we love. And we're frustrated, and we're spending trillions of dollars at this point, and we're trillions of dollars in debt to the tune of 37 and climbing fast. The interest is outweighing what we can pay back. These things are snowballing on us, and we're getting into another major conflict, and our gas prices are going up. Yeah. And we thought this was going to be the golden era. Don't be freaking fools. That's all I'm saying. We still got to take responsibility for us. Yeah. Circle in tight. Don't push away. Love and listen to your friends. Send a text message every once in a while. Let somebody know you're thinking about them, you love them, you care about them. They're in the fight, you're in the fight, but we're together. And there's people bunkered down hoping the frickin' missile doesn't drop on their family right now. And we're a part of that crap. I'm sorry, that's not okay. So count your blessings with the stresses we have. It doesn't discount how hard it is. But damn it, we're not waiting for a missile to fall on our heads with the president threatening to take us out from another country that we were just cheering for a month and a half ago.
Right.
I don't care what kind of negotiation tactic that is. Think about the anxiety and fear that's coming from the hand of the money that we pay for in taxes. We have to take responsibility. And I can't change it, but I can be this voice and tell you guys, you're not alone. We're all in the fight together. We need to circle in tight. Find your people and love on them, because we all need each other right now more than ever.
And the question comes back to, I'll say again, we talk about algorithms, and we've talked about AI, and we talk about rage bait and all of this stuff, and it all comes back to fear, right? Just fear, just constant. And then we live in a time in which, because of the product of these things, that we are the most isolated that we've ever been before. Right? Absolutely ever been before. So when the only option you have is the relationship that you have with something, right? A phone, sadly, or whatever television network you're watching and whatever they're doing. I mean, it goes into echo chambers. I mean, if I watched, and I'm just using this as an example because I don't watch your standard mainstream news. I choose to be more selective where I get my information. Sometimes I get some information from Fox News. Sometimes I get some information from CNN. We'll just call it those two. Okay. We'll just, like, those are the only two networks out there. Okay. To receive any information. Well, if you're on Fox News, then what it's doing is spreading hate and discontent and fear towards the average user of the consumer of CNN. And if you're CNN, it's spreading hate, fear, and discontent to the average user of Fox News. And together, it's got this, well, we're just going to say perception, not reality. And I go back to this, right? There's a way to look at it this way, a way to look at it this way, and then somewhere in the middle is the actual truth. So we'll just call that perception versus reality. So if there's money to be made and you keep people's attention and everybody's angry and fearful and frustrated and no matter where you go or where you look, those are the seeds that are being sown. And we're getting to the point where we become more and more disconnected from our neighbor and those that are in our community. At what point do we put it down? I mean, how many people turn off, how many of you turn off the device and just say, I want a real relationship. I don't want these relationships with people that I don't know or I haven't talked to or I haven't. I mean, is there a point, guys, where this becomes, where this faith over fear or this fear and this anger and everything that we're dealing with, knowing full well that it's driven by all of these different factors, and then you've got it's crazy to me, like Andy said, I just for fun, when I saw these things coming out that Donald Trump was posting, I thought, well, I'm just going to go and read the comments. And it was amazing to me how many people are, get him, you're the greatest, get him, bomb him, make a parking lot out of him, build a Walmart, And
60% of those are bots,
I know, and see, that becomes then, even more problematic because that propaganda is
Thank you.
trying to
You're
teach
welcome.
people. So what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of that except for to try to
The purpose?
persuade you as an individual?
The purpose is engagement.
But
The purpose is to
I think
keep
it goes
you.
deeper. I think it goes deeper.
It's to keep you. Because if they can't keep you and they can't keep your eyeballs, they can't
can't
make
sell the
money.
ads.
But doesn't it come back
That's
to
it.
okay?
Okay,
So
That's
then
the core.
it's the same thing with
If we're
Fox
not at
News.
war, we don't do
it's
what?
the same
We don't
thing with
make people
CNN.
what?
money.
It's
If Congress
All of
doesn't
them.
have wars going on, who's funding their campaigns? If the generals are not going through a revolving door and going through the process to get hired at these weapons manufacturing and distribution companies, then what are we doing? We're
If we
making a lot of
can't have
people
the-
rich, except
yes.
for the soldier and the taxpayer.
if
And at the end of the
Lockheed
day-
Martin isn't making money off of war jets, there's no Artemis 2.
Now, here's the other piece that we have to understand. I want to hold this. Please listen to this piece. All of that is real and true, and it's a problem if we're unaware. The 60% of bots is key, people. We have to keep hitting that so people think when they read a headline like the ones I just read that are bots.
Yeah.
Okay, there's other countries that are able to create whatever they need to create with a set of bots to infiltrate messaging and algorithms that are way smarter than we are because that's their strategy. That's part of the strategy. So some of what you're listening to and watching is literally coming from state-sponsored bots and algorithms to help affect things in our country for us to not be okay.
Both before and against.
This is a cyber war.
Right.
On top of everything else. And all we're doing when we get into these conflicts is giving ammunition for them to create more discontent and separation between the American people. That's why I'm saying circle the wagons tight.
Right. And let's say this too, right? We're not just talking, or I am not just talking about the war right now, right? It goes deeper than that.
Well, but even if we were talking about the war,
And we are, but just not
And-
that. Take into consideration
and I
our
want
kiddos.
to. I'm speaking to a lot of people, but some of the people that really need to hear me is our entrepreneurs, folks. For decades, we've known the future of war is going to be economic, digital. Boots on the ground are one thing,
But that's just a means.
but if you're going to try and take down this country,
yeah,
you're going to take them down through every one of our pocketbooks and every one of our phones and every one of our computers. That's where you're going to get us.
and I believe,
And they all know it.
well, and I think that's,
We need to live like we know it.
and I think honestly that's part of why I would say I think Iran is winning the long-term war here.
It's the only way they're winning anything.
Well, I mean that's,
The only way they're winning anything is digital and economic. That's it.
but that's the backbone of our country and our.
I think that scope is pretty small because I think who's winning are the other two countries we always talk about how we're trying to choke them out with all these resources who aren't in this war.
And they're making the most money right now.
1,000%. They're the ones where the price goes from $500 to $1,500. They're doing that in so many different ways to our populace because of this war. And these are the little things, right, that most people just don't think through because we're trying to live. But when you're getting affected by it and you're looking at this going, wow, really? We're literally giving weapons and money to the tunes of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to a country to fight another country. And yet we're now buying oil from that country to give them more money to fight the war when we were trying to keep them from getting oil to try to get them to have a negotiation about that war that we never got negotiated, by the way.
Russia's making more. They're making bank right now.
Dude, they're
On
killing
oil.
it.
They're
And
making
give
bank
zero
on
damns that
oil.
we're at war. A matter of fact, if I was president of that country, I would have a dedicated team creating bots and creating a message and propaganda coming into the people that it affected the most to help my cause. people just don't think.
And folks, he said if he were, he's not.
And I'm not as smart as the other
But that's the playbook. That's the playbook of the guy who is.
Yeah. So and then go and this is something funny. I always go back
and
to
then some, because I'm not as smart as he is.
Right. Well, to think that
At least not in the same way he is.
Right.
True.
Well, and
he's vicious.
Yes.
Yeah. And well,
as a KGB down,
Yes.
mean son of a gun if he had to be. And you don't. I mean, that is a. Yeah, I thank God, thank you, Jesus, because I have something inside that says don't do that.
Right.
Some people truly can turn that off.
Right. Well, then that comes back to, once again, full circle, talk about faith, right? And the idea that how do we mold whatever we want to mold into whatever image of God we want it to be to serve us. And I see that, some would call it, but the thing that we're talking about specifically with everything we're talking about, imagine going and pressing upon a youth that seems to think that, well, this is the way everyone thinks. Look at all these comments. Look at all these. We really have gotten to a point in our society where people just aren't okay. They really are not okay.
We're confused.
Yeah. And that comes back to the fear again. Like, well, I'm not okay. Well, I'm, X height, X weight, do this much bench, do this, that, this how much money I have, this is my education, this is the job I have, this is the house I have, this is and we've gotten into the point where, I mean, is anybody really satisfied anymore? Is anybody just okay with what God gave them? And then when we think about it too, Andy, you said something that triggered me that I have to think again. Although, yes, times are tough and we are in a situation in this country where I fear the impending doom and unintended consequences of even this war with Iran and who's involved in these players and all of this, and we're watching all this stuff. I fall victim to it too. I am afraid of the impending. What's 10 years going to look like? What's 20 years going to look like? What's 30 years, God willing, if I'm around, going to look like? What's that going to be? I don't see anything positive coming in the future. So it's easy to say, oh, I'm afraid. I have to admit there is an element of fear and worry and anxiety about what's it going to be like 10, 20, 30 years from now. And so with that, I'm not alone, but I have to remember I still have it exceptionally well, right? This comes back to perception over reality. When I turn on the faucet at this point in time, I am blessed to have clean flowing water coming into my house. When I need to go to the grocery store at this point in time, I can go to the grocery store, and although it's more expensive than what it was, definitely hands down, I can still go to a grocery store and buy my food. I can still should, in most instances, not worry or be in fear of somebody dropping a bomb on me, right? And that's the reality. But the perspective changes. The perspective changes with a little bit of fear thrown in there, and then where are we at from there? I mean, we really are no doubt in a mess, but that goes back to why people are so angry, and it's that they're so fearful about the unknown. And it's not even necessarily a real threat in as much as it's a perceived threat. Agreed? Or am I missing something here, guys?
No, I agree with all of that. I mean, it's a challenge. I mean, and I'm going to leave this here, but please, if you have kids, be aware. The confusion, the anxiety, the pressure. It's not that we're soft, and it's not the 80s and 70s, 80s and 90s anymore. Not even the early 2000s. It's a different world that they're growing up in.
It is.
And we have to be cognizant of the mental health issues that are created from these devices, and how do we allow them to continue to move forward in a world that's going to be the way it's going to be, but yet arm them with tools for them to protect themselves and their friends to the best of their ability. Because they're dealing with things at lightning speed. They know way more than we did at their ages. and they have access to more information than ever, and it's overwhelming and it's confusing and it's frustrating because they think they know more than they do. But without life experience, it's causing a lot of deep rooted confusion and anxiety, because this is the first time in human history that we've had the massive amount of information that they have, and the algorithms that are attacking them. I said attacking. We have to just talk to them about that and inform them. And I'm seeing it in my own house. That's why I'm saying, guys, pay attention to your kids. Listen, ask questions, try not to lose your crap. It's hard, I get it, but we have to try.
Yeah.
Because once we shut those doors, they're left alone and isolated with all the confusion, and all it does is manifest nothing but discontent and self-esteem issues and lack of hope.
Yeah. Confusion for sure. Yeah. It's very... And then, you know, with that, adding to that, Andy, you know, it is difficult because, well, us three sitting at the table, we obviously are not totally understanding of tech and how it works, but just merely by having this conversation in an effort to inform and educate people on it means we have a little bit more understanding than I think a lot of people do. I mean, you would be surprised at the amount of people I talked to that had no idea that they could bend their algorithms one way or the other. They just consume. It's like, whoa. You know, you can push that, or you can do this, or you can say you don't want to see this, and you just have to do it. It's like, it takes time. It takes some time to do it, but just, I don't want to see that. That pisses me off. I don't want to see that. And then find things, right, that are different and say, I like that. I want to see that. And I got something, a little exercise here. For my own situation, just as an example, I really like this Instagram page that's called Consistency Mind. So Consistency Mind. And what they talk about is this world is so full of negative, right? Follow us for the positive, right? So would you guys like to hear, because we are coming close to the end of the program, but just a quick blip of all things positive that are going on right now in our world. You guys want to hear it real quick? I got about so many clips, right? China has banned OnlyFans, calling it a Western disease that leads to a societal decline and poses a threat to public order. I'd say that's a good thing. France has banned influencers promoting dangerous cosmetic surgery and extreme dieting products to protect young people. Scotland becomes the first country in the world to make hygiene products, including tampons and pads, free to everyone. Scientists from Stanford University, led by Professor Helen Blah and Dr. Nidhi Bhutani, have found a way to regenerate aged cartilage and reverse arthritis. Scientists in Japan just created a plant-based plastic that completely dissolves in salt water within hours without leaving any microplastics behind. Australia could become the first nation in the world to eliminate cervical cancer. Mexico becomes the first country in North America to ban cosmetic testings on animals. At 13 years old, Lucas, I'm not going to even try to pronounce the last name, became the first patient in the world to be cured of a terminal brain cancer. Chile officially eliminated leprosy, becoming the first country in the Americas to do it. Brazil eliminates vertical transmission of HIV from mother to child and achieves the lowest mortality rate in recent years. All of these things, and there's more and more and more, guys, that are happening. I was even watching a podcast. It's Diary of a CEO, where he was discussing with a Harvard professor that they have effectively reversed or can reverse aging, right? And they did it on a test group of mice. And what they did was specific to the eye. And they are able to take and regenerate the eye. And with that technology, they believe that within the next 5 to 10 years, that they will be able to effectively stop aging. And in many instances, reverse it. Now think about each individual thing that can do when it comes to health for individuals. There are so many wonderful, wonderful things that are taking place right now that you hear nothing about. Nothing about. But they're awesome, wonderful things. Breakthrough technology. All of these things that we can just really benefit from as a people, as a society, as a country, as the world. And oftentimes we're just constantly bombarded with all of the negative and fear. All these things that are just horribly happening rather than the things that are positive. So that goes back to perspective versus reality and faith over fear. Do we believe that things will get better in so many ways over the areas that we see getting worse? Andy,
So I don't only believe that. I know that. And you know why I know that? Because I choose that. And this is a few weeks ago we talked about mindset and manifestation. And so I choose to step back and go, damn it. I know somewhere in a lot of places, as bad as my day can get, there's people sitting in a room where their 7-year-old son or daughter are dying of cancer, and they are doing everything they can to keep that kiddo alive and get resources, but knowing that today there's families that will find out their kid is going to pass. And I'm not in that situation. I'm not in a situation where I'm huddled with my son and daughter and their mom, hoping a bomb doesn't drop on my head today. I'm not in a position where I'm getting walked out of my home because I couldn't pay my mortgage, wondering what the hell I'm going to do for my family, because that's happening today. And yes, it's hard. And yes, sometimes I have things going on that frustrate me. Oh, woe is me with my first world problems waiting for a part to come in because somebody's upset with me.
Somebody honked at me at the stoplight.
Times 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little stressed right now.
Right.
To be frank, and I got an install to do in about an hour once I Superman out of this role and go into another one. But I get to do it. And it's going to be fine. And I choose that I get to do it. And I will take the blessings I have over what could be all day long, every day. And I am very hopeful. And I believe in our kids. And every time I see my kids come home and do something right, I'm hopeful that we're going to be all right. It's just my job to try to help them get there, right? But for me, I'm good. I worry about everybody around me. I don't need much. I don't need anything. I'm grateful for the opportunities I have. I'm grateful for my friends. I got a call from a buddy this morning. It's unbelievable. I got people like that in my life. But again, I'm very selfish. I'm good. I worry about everybody around me because I know a lot of people aren't. And I don't know what to do other than do the best I can on my next step to provide that one text message, that one $20 handout to get somebody through a day. Hand up. Because we all need that at some level. And I know friends that are looking for $5 to get through the week. And I know friends that need 20,000. But their stresses in this country, it's just, they're all the same. So it's not that somebody has more, they have less stress. They're just carrying a little bit heavier backpack, but they're equipped to do that, right? Yeah. But all of us at some level are carrying those backpacks. So we just got to be a little bit more patient with each other and keep things in perspective, my people.
Yeah, look at it from somebody else's perspective. That's interesting. Okay, so final words, guys.
I just did mine.
Okay. Chad?
Parents, take control. Because the last week and a half I've had to do that. I have watched.
Me too.
I have watched what I thought were some of the absolute greatest friendships that my son could ever have completely disintegrate because of this.
Amen, bro.
And last night, I broke up the Three Musketeers. And I looked right at my son and I said, you got 24 hours to make this decision. You either block them or I do.
It's tough.
It is tough.
That is very tough.
It's tough.
And they don't get it all the way.
No.
And it's tough.
One of them, he already had done it to. The other, he's still holding out hope.
And see, that's tough at that age, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's
That's a
real-
big decision.
It's a big decision.
And that's why I'm sitting here looking and saying, parents, take control. You pay for this thing. Your eighth grader ain't paying for
It's
this.
a privilege.
Your high schooler ain't paying for this. You're paying for this. Take control.
Yeah.
Your kids need you to do it.
And
Final word.
And I'll say something. I saw something that was very disheartening. And I know it happens every day, and it probably has part of some of the things that we're talking about, and Chad's final word, and what Andy talking about, and the cautions that we provide for the youth, and how phone. And I don't know if this was a part of it. I can see how it would be. I don't claim to know everything, but there was a young person from a very small community near ours that chose to take their own life. And when I saw that and read that, my heart just went out to that family. My heart went out to everybody affected by that. And I think what I'm left with of everything we've talked about today, including that, do everything you can, no matter what age you are, to see things from someone else's perspective. Just try to look at it from their perspective and internalize it, and then make decisions based upon that, right? Because we all know we can do whatever's good for us all the time. That's second nature to any of us. Do what's good for me. Maybe just take a step back, look at it from their perspective, and then make the choice to do what's best within your power for them, even if it gives you nothing or requires more from you, or you could get hurt, or you could lose. Make something in this world that you do about somebody else other than yourself. Have a good one, everybody.